Media Day has come and gone, and the Magic are aiming to turn the corner this year. What that means and why it's time to get to work today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is September 29th. It will be September 30th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, our big takeaways from Media Day, a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement why the Magic are ready or aiming to turn the corner of the season. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can be one of our Orlando Magic dailies. Subscribe and listen 5 days a week. We truly appreciate all of you who do. And now that the season's here, it's time to get in the habit. That's what training camp is for. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Everyone could feel the anticipation and the excitement for the season. Jeff Weltman said this is the most excited he's been since taking over the reins of the Orlando Magic and building this team. Jonathan Isaac, the longest tenured player on this team, said this is probably the most talented team that he's played with on this roster. Paolo Banchero, of course, told Josh Robbins of the Orlando Sentinel and very much said in his availability that he's not scared of expectations. They expect to go deep in the playoffs. There is a sense that this team can do something very, very special. And there's a sense that this team is on the path to doing something very, very special. And of course, all of them know on top of all this that none of it's going to happen automatically. They all know that they have to work for this. They have to get to that point. They have to build and grow to be that championship team and go through the ups and downs of a season. But they know what's at stake in this season. They know what's expected of them. They know what they expect of themselves. And that's what this season is about. That the overarching takeaway from Media Day and everything that we talk to the players about is this sense of purpose. This sense of we've got an opportunity now to be the best version of ourselves, to be a team that is competing for a championship. And while no one is out there saying, oh, we're going to the finals this year, I don't think this is a finals or bust season by any means. But the Magic weren't afraid to say that's the path they're on, that is the direction they are headed. Jeff Weltman, to me, put it the best way. With all the things the Magic did this offseason, with all the moves they made, with the team that they have, with the money they've invested, they have to turn the corner. And Weltman said everything they did this offseason had that in mind. They wanted to add shooting. They wanted to add some smarter IQ. They wanted to add more passing. They wanted to add all of these things without compromising their defensive identity, of course, and to push this team forward. Ultimately, it is about seeing the team take the step that they struggled to take last year. And again, injuries were a part of that. But it was clear that they needed to do something different, that they needed to do something to propel this team forward. And that's why the Magic acted. They couldn't afford not to. They had to act. They had to move this thing forward. They had to take this step. And the Magic feel that they're ready to turn the corner. They feel that they're ready to take that step. That they are about to make maybe not some gigantic leap. It'll be a pretty big leap. That they're ready to do something that they haven't done in a very long time. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that's changed as we talk to the Magic, as we get ready for the season, is everybody knows they are judged on only one metric. They're judged by only one thing, and that's winning. Paolo said it. Jeff said it. Jamal said it. Franz, to some extent, said it. They know that the Magic have laid the money down. This team is a tax team. And while I don't think the players necessarily care about the mechanics of that much, this team is laying down like they are a championship level team. They're paying this roster like they are a title winning contending team. And the Magic know that winning is all that matters. We've been talking about this for the last several years. Excuse me. We've been talking about this for the last several years. The Magic are growing from a team that is developing and rebuilding into a winning team, into a team that is competing for a championship. And that shift is finished now. Jeff Weltman said it plainly. While they are trying to be on these two tracks, they are trying to develop and grow young players. They've given a lot of young players a lot of opportunities, not just Paolo and Franz, but Anthony Black. Jace Richardson will have to fight for his minutes. Tristan De Silva will have to fight for his minutes. They have a lot of players fighting for time. But they're not going to play guys because they drafted them, because they traded for them. They're going to play the players that give them the best chance to win. And ultimately, we all agree, I think we all agree on this, if the Magic fail to get out of the first round, this season is a failure. This season will not live up to this promise and live up to this anticipation. And if they don't do that, figuring out how to adjust and shift this team is going to be very difficult. But if it all works out, the Magic do have a little bit of a runway to compete and win at a big level. Paolo, Franz, Dez, Jalen, Suggs are all under contract for at least the next 4 years. Wendell Carter has 3 more years left after this one. The Magic have a group that as long as the DeVos family is willing, they can keep together and compete. And that's why this season becomes so vital. That notion of turning the corner. The Magic have already proven they're a playoff team. They've already proven they're a tough out. They've already proven their identity. They've already proven who they are. Now they got to prove what they can be. Now they got to prove why they can be a team that elevates beyond just a playoff appearance. That's the corner they have to turn. That's the road they're walking. And that's the direction they are headed. The Magic have a lot riding on this season. The Magic have a lot that they need to accomplish. But the Magic are more than capable of doing all of it. And look, no one is going to be depressed on media day. You could go to any team in the league, listen to our friends at Locked On Hornets, listen to our friends at Locked On Wizards, listen to our friends at Locked On Bulls, at Locked On Blazers, at Locked On Pelicans. Everybody's excited right now. Everybody believes in the best version of their team. If you don't believe in the best version of your team on media day, someone screwed up somewhere. Everybody is optimistic on media day, especially if you're talking to players. Maybe fans aren't as optimistic, but everybody believes in what their team is capable of doing. This Magic team has major expectations, has major hopes, has major beliefs in what they can accomplish. They know to get there, they're going to have to work. They're going to have to get down and dirty and work. Nothing is guaranteed. If there's one thing last season proved, it's that nothing is guaranteed. If last year proved anything, it's that no playoff spot is promised. It's earned. Everything is earned. And if the Magic want to earn their way deeper into the playoffs, they've got the talent to do it now. Now it's about the execution and rounding that corner to head home. Obviously, a big piece of this puzzle is Desmond Bane and what he brings to the Magic, how Desmond Bane is already part of the group, and the offensive change your Orlando Magic are going to try and make. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel has so many great things that makes watching football more exciting, whether you're looking for parlays, same-game parlays, player props, or even following live during games. You can do live betting. They have NBA futures on there if you want to bet on Paolo Banchero winning MVP, the Magic winning the NBA Cup, anything you want. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Obviously, one of the big questions then is how is Desmond Bane going to fit into this thing? Like, we all have a feeling that he's going to be a great fit. And the numbers would say it. The logic says he is going to be a great fit for this team. He is a willing defender. He is a talker. Magic love their talkers. They love their guys that do not back down. He is one of the best shooters in the league. A volume shooter at that. Somebody who will shoot a high number of threes and make a ton of them. He is a secondary playmaker who's averaged 5 assists per game over the last 2 seasons, or at least 5 assists per game in each of the last 2 seasons. Desmond Bane is someone that seems like he will slide right in. As Franz Wagner said, he checks off a lot of the boxes of what we need without dominating the ball too much. We talked about this throughout the summer. Bane is about as perfect as you could get. He's about as good of a player as the Magic could have hoped to acquire. And it was crazy that he was available. Obviously, it came at a very heavy cost, but it was crazy that he was available. But I will keep mentioning this until we actually see how it works on the court, and we'll see on Saturday how it works. I'll keep mentioning this. What we don't know yet about Desmond Bane is exactly how the puzzle pieces are going to fit together. We think he's going to be a great cultural fit. And by all accounts, he is. He was someone that wanted to reach out to all the players. I don't know if he helped organize it, but they did the mini camp out in Vegas a few weeks ago. He's someone that has been in the gym at the Avenel Training Center for several weeks now as players have begun trickling back in. He is someone that seems very committed, and teammates already really like him. Saw a few interactions with him and other Magic players during media day. Everyone's kind of scrambled around. They're off doing their stations. But everybody not only raves about being the player, but raves about being the person. I love the one story that Jalen Suggs told today on the podium. Suggs is still not practicing. We'll talk about those injury updates here in a minute. But Suggs was on the sideline talking trash, doing what Jalen Suggs does, and Desmond Bane was giving it right back to him. And, look, some people might say, oh, that could be a sign of a rift. I was like, no. That's what you're testing. You want to make sure that guy has the attitude and swagger that you want. The Magic don't back down from anybody physically. They don't shy away from talking. They're gonna talk junk to you. That's who this Magic team is. And so there's definitely a camaraderie that is being built between Suggs and Bane. And Bane, I think, has done a really good job being a good veteran, which he's only 29, but being a good veteran and integrating into this team. And being sure that he is a part of this team and fitting this team's overall culture. Again, I want to see it Saturday. I'm sorry. I need data. I need to see how this actually works because there's a lot of things the Magic have to do. We all expect that Desmond Bane is just going to make the Magic a better offensive team just by his presence. He is someone that demands gravity. He's got to hunt 3-point shots, which is a good thing. He's going to shoot a lot of threes. He's got to draw attention to himself because you don't want to leave him open and give up those threes. Desmond Bane is going to be a huge impactor, even if the Magic don't change a thing. But there's the rub. The Magic are going to change some things. The Magic are going to adjust and shift their offense. Jamal Mosley had the most interesting insight, and it's something I know I've talked about on this show. The Magic do a great job forcing turnovers. I think they were second or third in the league in opponent turnover rate last year. They do a really bad job converting that. And so any talk about the Magic playing faster, getting up the court faster, playing in transition more, any talk of that usually ends because the Magic just aren't good in transition. Some of that is just poor shooting. Some of that is just, they foul a lot. There just aren't as many opportunities. Whatever it is. Magic were a middling team. And so if the Magic are going to create a lot of turnovers, they need to get out on the break and be threats in transition. And that was a big point that Mosley said. He talked less about Bane as a spot-up shooter And when I asked him, like, how is this offense going to change with Bane? He said, we're going to look to convert off turnovers. They expect Desmond Bane to get rebounds, rip it, and run. They want him leading the break. They want Franz leading the break. They want everyone spraying out to the three-point line, on the floor at the Admiral Trading Center, where blue boxes at the key three-point shooting areas. The two dunker spots, the corner, the wings, and the top of the key. The Magic are training their guys to find and hunt those three-pointers. Now, again, they got to make them, and part of the reason why maybe the Magic slowed things down and didn't execute as quickly is because of that poor three-point shooting. Shooting opens everything up. And that's why Bane and Tyus Jones are so important. We are going to see a different offense. Like, we'll still see some of the same pet plays. It's not going to change that dramatically. But the Magic are going to try and do different things. And I think the hope is that now that you have 4 guys that you're very comfortable ripping and running, very comfortable leading the break, scoring in transition, like Franz Wagner at Eurobasket, everybody feared him in transition, almost as much as Giannis. Giannis in transition was scary. Franz was like second on that list. They did not want to see Franz coming downhill. And that's the trick. That's the thing the Magic are going to try and find to unlock this offense a little bit. Frankly, it's media day. There's a lot of like simple platitudes. You can just tell guys are eager to just get it started. You're not going to get a lot of information. And again, like, we're going to see how it all looks on the court. Again, we're not going to get to watch practice at all, but we'll see Saturday how it is starting to look and how it's shaping up. But I think one thing that is true, one thing that we can say is Desmond Bane is already a pretty integrated part of this group. For a team that doesn't have a lot of new faces. This year they got 4. But a team that typically doesn't make trades. I got the Magic roster sheet. They say they have a part on the roster sheet that says how the team was built. Only 3 players were acquired by trade on this team. Wendell Carter, Desmond Bane, and I'm going to blank on the last one. I'm going to pull it up here. And Noah Penda. So you got my roster sheet right here. This is a team that does not have a lot of new players all the time. And so again, like, there's this little bit of like, okay, how's this actually going to work? How are they actually going to integrate this player? But this is a pretty tight-knit group. And they're very welcoming and letting people in. And the culture is still a big part of what the Magic are doing. But we got to see how it all fits and how it all works out. More notes from Media Day, including the injury updates we're waiting on. We'll talk about Jalen, Suggs, and Mo Wagner coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. With Monarch, you can identify that you aren't saving as much as you thought. Monarch helps you notice an inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. You can maximize investments, increase your savings rate, easily refinances with your partner or financial advisor, and keep a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term. Organization is the first key, and Monarch takes care of that for you. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. The biggest news that we were expecting was just a brief update on where Jalen, Suggs, and Mo Wagner are in their injury recoveries. Again, not a particularly newsy day. Like, this Magic team, pretty low key, not a bunch of talk, not a whole bunch of like big talkers. They want to do the work, and I respect that. They want to do the work. We'll see them do the work tomorrow when training camp on Tuesday when training camp opens. We'll get a lot more information, or begin to get a little bit more information from there, but we want to see them play. And I think that's the character of this team. There's a lot of talking on the court, not a lot off the court, at least media wise. But we were expecting just this news of what the updates were on Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner. And generally they are pretty encouraging. The Magic actually gave a timeline for Jalen Suggs. They said they are aiming for him to be back for opening night. As far as we can tell, Jalen Suggs is going to participate in parts of training camp, but not all of it. It does not sound like he is doing contact quite yet, is not playing 5-on-5. Maybe he's doing contact, but not in 5-on-5. And pretty much they're just going to go how Arnie and the medical staff tell them to go. And Jalen is Jalen in every way. He says, I'm going to take it on his time, talking about God and all that. I'm going to take it in his time and do what needs to be done. He hoped to be back for training camp, but that did not happen. But the fact that the Magic are willing to say that he'll be back, that they're hoping he'll be back for opening night, which leave the door open that he plays in one of the preseason games or plays in a couple preseason games to get ready, or the Magic said they certainly hope that he will be ready shortly after the season begins. So there might be a little absence at the beginning of the season, but it doesn't feel like that's going to be long-term. It doesn't feel like it's something that's going to linger on and on and on and on. I know that there's a lot of people that are like, whoa, hold on a second. They told us this was a small surgery. It was not. Like, it really wasn't. He had the surgery back in February, so we're almost 8 months after surgery. The surgery he had was a little more complex. It wasn't like a scope to clean out cartilage or anything like that. He had what's called a mosaicplasty, which like they shave down the bone a little bit, or they shave down the trochlea a little bit, and they layer cartilage over it in like a mosaic pattern, which they believe would make it stronger, make it less susceptible to re-injury, make it less susceptible that he has to have another surgery. Like if he just got it scoped and cleaned out, that's a temporary fix. He'd have to go back and get another scope. It'd be a constant issue. They're hoping that this is it, that they did this surgery, this major surgery, and that's it. He is back on the floor. He is doing stuff on the floor. It's not like he's sitting on the sideline. He is doing stuff. But whether he's doing contact or not is the bigger question. But it does feel like Suggs he's not going to miss very much time. Again, like I think he's going to be participating in drills, just not the contact portion, not the scrimmages yet in training camp. And again, they have this month of like heavy practices to get him going and get him moving. So would not shock me if we don't see him in the preseason at all. Wouldn't shock me if we see him for that last game. I think it's against New Orleans or Miami. I forget which the last preseason game is. I don't think it's Miami, actually. It's San Antonio, maybe? I don't know. I don't have the preseason schedule memorized, so I apologize. But we'll see when Suggs is ready to go. And Suggs seemed to be in good spirits, honestly. Like he seems to be taking it all in stride. He seems to know that this is for his best long-term, and he's just eager to play. You can tell that he's really, really eager to play. Same goes for Mo Wagner. Mo is a little bit further along, is a little bit further away. He said like he's physically fine. It's just about gaining confidence. It's all about mental stuff with him. He said back in July on his podcast that the doctors like kind of cleared him and said like, oh, you're fine to do things. Just, keep an eye on it, so he's slowly building it back up. I think Mo even said like the biggest thing right now is just getting back into game shape and getting back into basketball shape. Obviously you're like kind of playing catch up with that. Mo, again, like we all know, typically with ACL injuries, it's a year to recover and then a year to get all the way back. So a year to recover and get back on the floor would be December. I've been telling people I don't expect him back until December, probably closer to Christmas, because that's when his injury took place. It being Mo Wagner would not shock me if he is back kind of mid-December, so around the quarter mark of the season. Mo very much said he is expecting to be back by the time they go to Berlin. He wants to play in the Berlin game, but we'll see. Obviously, we're not there yet. You can't count your chickens before they hatch in that respect. But again, Mo seems to be in very, very good spirits. Just some other like kind of tidbits throughout. Paolo said that he trained a little bit differently heading into last season, and look, it worked for him for the most part, but he didn't know if that was one of the reasons why he got injured. He went back to his kind of old training regimen and old training method, just really became more in tune with his body. He seems to be fine. Obviously, he told Josh Robbins of the Athletic that he felt he wasn't all the way back even late last season. So I think Paolo took some time to kind of get his body and his mind right and kind of figure out what went wrong, or not go as hard. Like he's going to go hard. He's a hard worker, but not go as hard to like leave himself exposed on that front. Wendell Carter mentioned that he was dealing with an injury throughout the course of last season that wasn't really reported. He kind of told us he was having some issues with his hand throughout the season, but he said he had a mostly healthy summer. He's really eager to play with this team, and a lot of people sung his praises and said like he's really like the engine that makes the team go. Like he covers for everyone's mistakes so well. So I think there's a lot of excitement for what Wendell's going to do this season. AB said he really focused on his aggression and his shot throughout the summer. Again, we'll see how that plays out. I thought his shot looked improved. I know the percentage wasn't better last year, but I thought he had some really good shooting games. And again, it's just all about aggression and confidence with him. So I think he built on that. Everyone sung the praises for Tristan da Silva after his Euro basket run. Really, really liked the way that he played there. Playing, again, a similar role as we talked about with the Magic. A lot of confidence. Like even Franz was like, yeah, he showed up big for us, made some big plays for us. Like they don't win the Slovenia game without that half court shot that Tristan made at the end of the third quarter. So really, really big moments, really big moment for him. And I think everyone's hoping the confidence from Eurobasket carries over into the season. Other than that, though, pretty quiet media day. Like not a lot going on. Like I think most of the team is just ready to get this started. Again, like I think the big thing, and everybody feels it, is how excited this team is to start the season. Whatever your expectations are for this team, whatever you think this team can do, I can almost guarantee the Magic match that excitement and anticipation. I know I've talked to a few players over the summer. I was just asking like how they're feeling about things and how much they're looking forward to the season. And they're all like, yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Like they understand the opportunity in front of them. And so I think the general vibe at media day was like, let's get to work. Let's just do this. We want to do this. We're eager. We're excited. We know what we're capable of. We know what we've added. We're ready to make this statement. And I think that's the big thing. And again, the process starts on Tuesday. It's already started, but the process continues on Tuesday with the first day of training camp. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Film download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, my daily newsletter at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to check out the Locked On NBA Top 100, voted on by the NBA hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Our Top 100 was formed by experts that cover these teams and players every day. Find the full list on Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. You can check out my reaction. I did a reaction pod last week when ESPN's list came out, as well as now 3 weeks ago. I spoke to Kuki Heel of Locked On Pistons 3 weeks ago on Tuesday, and then talked about the list itself the following Wednesday. Be sure also to check out Locked On NBA for the latest around the NBA from the Locked On Podcast Network. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the first day of training camp. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.